In the heart of the African savanna, a mother deer did something that would challenge everything we thought we knew about the animal kingdom. A mother deer chose to care for a lion cub. The rangers at Kruger National Reserve could not believe it when they first saw her. She was small and graceful, ears pointed, legs ready to run. Next to her lay a tiny lion cub, only a few days old, making soft mewing sounds. The deer was later called Mara. The cub was called Ramy. Ramy's mother had been killed by poachers. The rangers found her body not far away, stripped of anything valuable. The cub was alone and hungry, crying out in the tall grass with a voice that barely carried on the wind. Every part of Mara's life said she should run. Lions were danger. Lions were the reason deer keep watch and sleep lightly. Lions were the shadows that made herds scatter and hearts race. Yet Mara did not run. She lowered her head and gently nudged the cub with her nose. She let him press against her belly for warmth. She let him drink the milk meant for her own fawn, who stood nearby on wobbly legs, watching with wide, dark eyes. From the observation post, Dr. Elizabeth Thornton, the reserve's head veterinarian, watched through binoculars. "This is impossible," she whispered. "This is impossible." Every instinct in her should be telling her to flee. Lions are her natural enemies. Her kind has spent millions of years learning to fear them. But Mara stayed. At first, the rangers thought it would last a day, maybe two. Surely instinct would win. Surely nature would correct itself. But one day became many. Mara moved with her fawn and with Ramy, trotting behind on shaky paws. She licked Ramy clean the way lion mothers do, her rough tongue smoothing his golden fur. At night, when the air turned cold and the grass whispered secrets to the stars, she curled her body around both young ones to keep them warm. It looked wrong and beautiful at the same time. A soft-boned deer guarding a sharp-toothed cub. A prey animal mother mothering a predator. The natural order turned inside out. The rangers argued about what to do. Some wanted to separate them for safety. "That lion will grow up," they said. "What happens when his instincts kick in? What happens when he gets hungry?" Others said they should wait and learn. "Maybe," they whispered, "maybe we don't know everything about how love works." Mara kept doing what she had chosen. When she sensed danger, she stamped and snorted. She spread her legs as if to say, "Stay back, these are mine." Time passed, like water flowing over stones, reshaping everything it touched. Ramy grew quickly, his teeth grew longer, his body grew heavy with muscle and promise, his paws became large enough to pin down prey. One afternoon, Mara did something that made the rangers hold their breath. She led the little group to a carcass left by other predators. The zebra's body lay cooling in the shade of an acacia tree. She did not eat. She could not. She lowered her head and nudged Ramy toward the meat. He sniffed it, confused at first. He looked at Mara, then back at the carcass. Then he bit and chewed, unsure at first, then sure. The taste of blood and flesh awakened something ancient in him. Mara stood near, calm and watchful, while she and her fawn later ate grass in the same pale light. It was as if she was teaching him, "Be what you are meant to be. I will still love you." News spread across the reserve and then across the world. People had opinions, loud and certain. "You're making a monster," some said. "That lion will be confused and will not survive. He won't know how to hunt. He won't know his place in the pride." "You're putting prey animals at risk," others warned. "What happens when he turns on the herd? What happens when love isn't enough?" "This is a bad idea," the voices insisted. "Nature has rules for a reason." Dr. Thornton kept watching. She recorded everything, filling notebook after notebook with observations.
and she noticed something important, something the critics could not see from their distant screens and comfortable chairs. Ramy was learning limits. When he played too roughly with Mara's fawn, pawing too hard or biting too deep, Mara drove him back with a firm headbutt. When he crouched to stalk other deer, muscles tensing for the hunt, she stepped between him and the herd. Her eyes said no. Her body said no. She was not cruel. She was clear. And Ramy began to understand control. He began to understand mercy. He began to understand that power could be held back, that strength could be gentle. The rangers started to see a pattern. Love could teach rules, even to a predator. Compassion could shape instinct. Care could bend nature without breaking it. Not every day was gentle. The savannah never allows comfort for long. One evening, a hyena crept close, drawn by the smell of milk and fear. Its laugh echoed across the darkening plains. Mara stood tall, eyes bright, hooves striking the ground with sharp warning sounds. Ramy's fur rose along his spine. He gave a small roar, more squeak than thunder, but it was his first brave sound, his first declaration. The hyena backed off, confused by this strange family that would not break, confused by a deer that stood her ground and a cub that defended grass-eaters.
Weeks turned into months. Ramy's paws became large and sure. He learned to bring down small prey on his own, warthogs and young impala. He slept in the shade with the heavy rest of a growing lion. His mane began, just a soft, dark halo around his neck, but he carried himself like something soon to happen, like a storm gathering on the horizon. Mara, meanwhile, paid a price. Some deer in her herd kept their distance. They did not understand why she stayed near a lion. They moved when she approached. They watched her with suspicious eyes. She was lonely sometimes, isolated by her choice. But she was not sorry. She never looked back. Then the day came that everyone feared. A group of young male lions, pushed out of their pride, wandered into Mara's range. They were hungry and angry, burning with the need to prove themselves. They saw Ramy. They smelled him. They knew he was young and not yet king. In lion life, young males kill rivals before they become strong. It is the old rule, written in blood and bone: remove the threat before the threat removes you. The air went still. The grass held its breath. Even the birds stopped singing. Mara stepped forward. She put her small body between Ramy and the strangers. She stamped. She snorted. She faced their teeth with thin legs and wide eyes and a mother's fury. The young males circled, puzzled by this prey animal that did not flee. What was this? What strange magic held her in place? Ramy's chest rose. Something inside him woke and stood tall. His roar tore across the plains, rolling past the acacia trees and over the red earth. It was not a cub sound anymore. It was deep and hard and full of promise. It said, "I am here. I am becoming. I will not fall." The strange lions paused. Mara did not move. Ramy stepped to her side, shoulder to shoulder, and roared again. The sound shook the evening air. The young males looked at each other. They measured the risk. They retreated, melting back into the tall grass like shadows at dawn. The moment passed, but it left a mark. Mara had bought Ramy the time he needed. Ramy had protected the one who raised him. The bond held. After that,
The rangers made a hard choice. Ramy needed a pride. He needed his own kind to live a full life. He needed to be a lion among lions, not just a lion among deer. They reached out to a nearby reserve where the old dominant male had died. A pride of lionesses was without protection, vulnerable to wandering males and rival plans. The introduction would be risky, but it was Ramy's best chance. The first days were tense. The lionesses circled him, curious and wary. He smelled of deer. He smelled wrong. He showed no wish to rush the grazing animals along the border. But Ramy had learned patience from Mara. He had learned to wait.
He did not force himself on the pride. He hunted and brought food, laying it at their feet. He stood watch at night when the darkness pressed close. He warned rivals away without needless fights. He learned the language of his new family and spoke it gently. Within 6 months, the pride accepted him. Cubs tumbled at his paws, batting at his growing mane. The lionesses rested with their heads near his chest. The territory felt different now, safer, calmer. Something else was different too. When deer grazed near the edge of Ramy's land, he and his pride did not hunt them. There were many other prey animals, zebras, wildebeest, buffalo. The deer were left alone, even when they were the easiest choice. It was as if Mara's final lesson had traveled with him and taken root in his heart. Dr. Thornton kept visiting. Her notes changed over time. At first, they were full of questions, full of scientific doubt. Later, they were full of quiet wonder, full of humility. She still checked on Mara when she could. The deer had grown older. Her coat was not as bright. Her steps were slower. But when she lifted her head, there was that same steady look, the look of a mother who had decided once and never looked back. One soft morning, when the light was pink and thin, the rangers found Mara lying in the grass. She was not afraid. She was not in pain. She was simply finished. Her work was done. Nearby, her herd grazed and lifted their faces to the wind. The circle continued without her. That evening, a sound rolled across the land. It was Ramy at the border of his territory, standing with the setting sun behind him. He looked toward the place where Mara's herd moved like smoke over gold. He opened his mouth and gave a long, low roar that seemed to carry both grief and thanks. The deer did not run. They listened. Then they lowered their heads and ate again. Nature is not always red in tooth and claw. Sometimes it is a mother who chooses compassion over fear. Sometimes it is a lion who remembers the one who taught him that strength and kindness can live in the same heart. Mara proved that love can cross the lines we think cannot be crossed. Ramy proved that the lessons of a gentle heart can guide a king. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs hope today. The savannah is wide, the rules are old, and still love finds a way.